Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen, and welcome to a new season of Quest to Legend. A new season means a new deck. I'm starting at rank 25. I've played this deck in the casual queue, and it's been working really well so far, so I figured I'd take it into the ranks and see how it goes. This is a hunter deck. I'm calling it Big Game Hunter, even though it doesn't actually have the card named Big Game Hunter in it. Well, the idea behind this deck is I want to have more of a control-ish hunter deck with nice big stuff in it, like, Savannah Highmane and King Crush and a pair of Sea Giants. And I'm trying to get away from my arena player's instincts of just playing with generic good cards and going for some sort of synergy. So the idea with this deck is that we use Unleash the Hounds and try to get some value out of it. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but with Unleash the Hounds, obviously with Starving Buzzard, we can draw lots of cards. Animal Companion, if I get lucky and flip a Leok, that can make the Hounds deal more damage. I have the Violet Teacher, which creates 1/1 apprentices when I cast Animal Companion or Unleash the Hounds, which despite producing minions are actually spells. The Violet Teacher also produces 1/1s from there's a lot of spells in this deck, from all the traps and from the deadly shots and the kill commands. And this all helps the Sea Giants to come into being, as do the Savannah Highmanes when they pop and summon 2 hyenas. That can also make Sea Giants cheaper. I haven't really seen that many decks. I don't think there's like any major metagame hunter deck right now that uses Sea Giant, which means either I've uncovered something awesome and the next legendary thing, or it's actually just not that feasible. And finally, I've got King Crush in here because King Crush is fun. Haven't actually been able to pull him off in a game yet, but hope springs eternal. We'll see. As always, I will look for your suggestions as we play the games. If you have any improvements, please feel free to put them in the comments. I cannot promise that I will implement all of these suggestions, but I will certainly implement some. And sometimes in a major way. For example, in the last season, which I unfortunately got stuck around rank 14, one person actually suggested that I move away from the Rogue class and try Warrior instead, and I ended up having a pretty big spurt with the Warrior version of what was initially a Rogue deck. Although eventually it did come to a halt. After going on a huge streak from 19 to 14, I got stuck there. We'll see if we can do better than that this season. Egg Axion the Hunter is our first opponent of the season. And this is a pretty fine opening hand. I might just keep it. Well, let's get rid of the kill command. It's a bit premature, but we'll keep the 3 dropped so we have it, and then we got the Eagle Horn Bow. Let me talk a little bit about the removal that I chose. So I chose to put 2 deadly shots in here because in the metagame nowadays, it seems one common rule of wisdom when playing against hunters is don't have more than 2 minions on the board at once. And that makes Deadly Shot really strong, I think. So that's why I wanted to play with 2 of them. If people are only going to be playing 2 minions against you on the board at any given time, then as long as you can kill one, you're guaranteed to kill the other one with Deadly Shot. And this is just really nice for getting rid of Twilight Drakes, Trillwind Yetis, Ironbark Protectors, whatever other junk that people might play. The bow, I think, is also really great. It's basically like a Fiery War Axe to me. If I can actually launch a secret out, maybe I'll, get some use out of the bonus durability, but frankly, I'm just happy that it's a Fiery War Axe, even though that costs 1 more mana. Okay, my opponent, is he AFK? Well, no, he's not AFK because he's, first of all, highlighting stuff, and second of all, he didn't take max time on the mulligan. He's just being super slow. And it looks like we might be up against an aggressive deck. Okay. So, here you have to ask yourself, do I play a Starving Buzzard just to have it die to the Timberwolf? That's kind of a victory if a Timberwolf gets to chomp on a Starving Buzzard. On the other hand, if I don't do anything, then things could get really out of hand. I'm going to go ahead and Steady Shot here, but that's tempered by the fact that I've got, a weapon and an Animal Companion. If I didn't have turn 3 plays, I would certainly have played out that Starving Buzzard so I can, put the reins on this opponent. Generally, I would say it's actually probably a mistake to play Timberwolf on turn 1 against almost any deck. Certainly against rogues, druids, and mages who can kill it, but I think it's just a mistake against anyone because this 1/1 is so fragile. In fact, my opponent doesn't even have a turn 2 play. He just dropped this out. So I think this is actually just a newer player and not playing very well, which is just fine by me. I'll go ahead and kill off that wolf, and I'd say that we are winning this opening already. We have a weapon ready to kill whatever he plays next, potentially, and we also have Ascension to drop down and forestall any more aggro that might be coming our way. Okay, so this is definitely a new player. Okay, maybe he's got a beast coming down, another Timberwolf perhaps? I was going to say, you really don't want to play just having a Buzzard into your opponent's Eagle Horn Bow. He's going to coin to Steady Shot. All right. Well, I was wondering, maybe, sort of a new season. We'd get, difficult opponents. Because, you know, when the season resets, it reset just a couple days ago, you know, you have, like, all the top players, you know, all the legends, they're reset to rank 25 and they all jump back in. But that doesn't seem to be the case, at least not yet. This is definitely a Sunday afternoon casual player here who is just making crazy plays, like dropping buzzards and timberwolves out for no reason and then coining to steady shot. So the correct way to play whatever his deck would have been to wait on the direwolf. No, it's not timberwolf. Yeah, wait on the timberwolf, wait on the buzzard, and then play those later. Okay, so he's got a secret here. And I'll check for freezing trap, because I might as well. It's not freezing trap. Okay, so that means it's not snake trap either. So it's either snipe, explosive trap, or misdirection. These are all the possible cases here. I would play Animal Companion if the Violet Teacher weren't silenced. As it is, there's not much reason to play Animal Companion unless I play the Buzzard first. So I can play Buzzard plus Animal Companion. I'm going to actually play the Sentient here. So let's just be a little bit safe. Okay, so checked for Snipe this way, and it's not Snipe. So we know it is Explosive Trap or Misdirection. Hopefully Explosive Trap. Probably Explosive Trap. Misdirection is a rare card, literally. It's a blue rare. Oh my gosh, okay. And it's, I think, more commonly used than Misdirection is. So now he's got a second secret. So all of our analysis is completely reset now. This secret could be anything. I do know that this top secret is going to trigger when I attack, so I think I should really find that out first. So there's the top secret, and it is Misdirection. He's actually playing with the rarer secret. I think that was probably for the best that I am attacked. Oh god, what is going on? Oh, it's Explosive Trap and Misdirection. Okay. So I'm a little bit low on health here, but I'm actually not really worried. I still feel like we're totally fine here. I'm going to take this opportunity to lay an Explosive Trap. I think we're totally fine. 15 health, a bit scary, but I've got 2 taunts. You can't easily remove them, even with Unleash the Hounds. Like a Buzzard plus Unleash the Hounds would get him 3 cards, but the Hounds wouldn't do that much unless there was also a Timberwolf. Interestingly, if he had kept the Timberwolf around, or in his hand, and then same with the Buzzard, then I guess I would have played an Animal Companion rather than playing the bow that I used to kill the Buzzard and the Timberwolf, but then now he could play those and Unleash the Hounds and draw 4 cards and kill a lot of my stuff. So there's a Timberwolf, okay? There's Timberwolf number 2 and Unleash the Hounds. So he does have Unleash the Hounds. He should not have played the Buzzard earlier. This is a really good example where had my opponent been playing correctly, he would be in a way better shape because he would have had a Buzzard to play with some of this remaining 3 mana. He would have drawn 4 cards. He's actually going to play Unleash the Hounds again. Well, it's a good thing I drew both of my Sengens. That is, I believe, the only taunt I have in this deck, apart from getting lucky and flipping Nisha. I don't have any other taunt. I guess there was an Explosive Trap here, which would have killed off all the wolves. So he played correctly not attacking into me. Alright, well, here I think what we'll do is we'll play the Buzzard, and let's do a couple of Animal Companions. Well, no, sorry, just 1 Animal Companion. I only have mana for 1. Good to know. I'll take a moment and kill this Timberwolf, sure. And attack. I mean, he could potentially just burn me out here with like a Beast plus kill commands and steady shot at his way to victory. I don't have any healing in this deck. But I believe I have enough time. I believe that I have enough time. He's going for the throat, which is totally fair. That's probably his best chance of winning. But I think I can actually win. We'll see. So let's draw a card. Steady shot. What's nice is that with this Explosive Trap, I am safe. If he gets another Unleash the Hounds will all be killed. I've got 10, 12 damage, 15. I do kill him next turn if he leaves all my stuff alive, so he'd have to deal 9 damage to me, which is a bit difficult. Steady Shot gets me down to 7, with 2 cards dealing 7 damage. Is a bit tricky for a hunter. Especially when I have an Explosive Trap stopping things like Arcane Golem. He's going for it, which I don't think is actually a mistake. He's playing to his outs. The only way he could have possibly won it is if this were like a Snake Trap or something. And he's going to kill command. Well, it really did come down to that Explosive Trap, actually. That would have killed me, that Arcane Golem. So, it's interesting how, I guess I am a little bit disconcerted that that was so close, considering how awfully my opponent played. So, to recap his mistakes, He played a Timberwolf on turn 1 and a Starving Buzzard on turn 2. The Timberwolf, okay, whatever, you know, you played on turn 1. But the Buzzard, I had an Eaglehorn bow in my hand, so that was definitely a mistake. And then he used a coin to steady shot me once. I think the coin would have helped him more later. But the biggest mistake was definitely playing out the Buzzard on turn 3. After I used the Eaglehorn bow to kill his Timberwolf, because if he had just kept it in his hand, he could have drawn like 3 cards off of his Unleash the Hounds. But he did make a good move. He used all of his hounds to kill my minions. He did not run at me, which prevented all of his hounds from dying to an explosive trap. So up against a Paladin that I think is a little bit annoying for this deck, being up against a Paladin, simply because... Do I keep this Sea Giant? That's a bit risky. Yeah, I'm not going to keep the Sea Giant. Because the Paladin can always, at worst, crank out 1/1s, which can be really difficult to deal with. Explosive Trap will take care of him. Freezing Trap is not really very good against Paladins if they're able to get the 1/1s out against you. So, okay. Well, the good news is I do have my Buzzard Hounds combo if my opponent goes a little bit crazy with the recruits. Basically, Unleash the Hounds, as long as the Paladin doesn't have taunt or any sort of health buffs, does just cancel out all of a Paladin's uses of the recruit ability up to that point in the game. Alright, I'm just going to just swing at my face. And I presume make another recruit. Yep. So do I coin out the Violet Teacher? I mean, if he has True Silver Champion or Blessing of Kings, the Violet Teacher is just going to die. I don't really see much of a reason to use the coin. I might as well just play the Animal Companion. Got the Bear. Well, not the greatest. It will die to Blessing of Kings or True Silver Champion, but at least I didn't use up the Violet Teacher for that. And he's got a Hammer of Wrath, which is actually probably the most favorable way for me to have lost this card. Because it caused him to lose a recruit, leaves him with less board presence, and it took up his whole turn. Well, let's go ahead and play Violet Teacher then. I'm not going to play a Freezing Trap here. Again, a True Silver Champion or Blessing of Kings will kill this Violet Teacher, and as he has tons of cards, he's likely to have that. I mean, it's hard being a Hunter against a Paladin. I'm not a big fan of this matchup, to be honest. He doesn't have the removal again, which is quite fortuitous for me. I will concede. I am quite fortunate here. These Violet Teachers have been getting silenced a lot, which suggests to me that people probably are running too many silences, honestly. Okay, so that makes me want to play Freezing Trap next turn. Will I play a Freezing Trap even though it means passing up on Svenna Highmane? That's the question. Well, I don't really want this to actually get frozen, do I? Because for 6 mana he could play it and then just silence up the Highmane. So what I'm going to do is I will not let a Paladin keep creatures to the best of my ability. And we're going to coin out the Highmane. So now with this Divine Shield he can kill off my Violet Teacher, but then I can use the Highmane to kill the Spellbreaker. The Highmane will survive with 1 health, and then it'll still pop Hyenas after dying, so I think that was pretty good for me. The Sea Giant might be playable if he plays 2 minions to compensate for the one of mine he's going to kill. Then the Sea Giant will get playable. Note that your opponent needs to have 3 minions on the board for Unleash the Hounds to be a discount. But if your opponent has 2 minions on the board, you can play Unleash the Hounds for 2 mana, and it will reduce the cost of your Sea Giants by 2. And that's good as well. Shadows and Cleric. Okay, so that allows my opponent to kill off the Savannah Highmane. No, he's going for the face! Whoa! I don't know about that. I would have killed something here. I mean, I would at least have killed the Violet Teacher so that I can't just straight up kill the Shattered Sun Cleric and live to tell about it. Yeah, I don't think my opponent made the right play there. Okay, well, let's think about the situation very, very carefully. If I play a Starving Buzzard and Unleash the Hounds, I spend 4 mana, I will have 2 mana left. There will be 5 plus 3 is 8. There will be 9 mana. I will actually get to play a Sea Giant after that. I am going to do that, actually. Oh, wait, oh my god, am I actually going to be able to... Yes, I will, because I will have 6 minions on the field. You always have to check when you're playing Unleash the Hounds to make sure that you don't run out of board space. So I get 3 cards. Now, tragically, I don't have the board space to play 2 Sea Giants, even though I could actually afford both of them. But I will definitely play 1. Oh, wait, I can actually play them both. So first I'm going to pop that Divine Shield. That makes this cost 1. So, wow, that was pretty good. How about this deck, eh, guys? Huh? Huh? Alright, we're gonna kill that. Do I? Oh, I don't want to do that, do I? That would actually die. Well, crap. What I'm gonna do is make a bit of a tech play. I'm gonna actually throw this hound away, so that if my opponent chooses to kill off the high main, that there's actually room for the hyenas on the board. Oh wait, what am I doing? There would have been room. Okay, that was a mistake. Sorry, after the high main dies, even if I had kept that hound, I would have actually had room for the 2 hyenas. So that was just throwing away a hound for absolutely no reason. That was kind of silly. Oops. But anyway, we're doing fine because of all the cards I drew from the buzzard. And my opponent might want to kill the buzzard anyway, rather than killing the high main, because the buzzard represents it. Actually, yeah, he can't kill the high main. Maybe I should have killed the Savannah high main, because then 2 hyenas would have popped into being, and those would have drawn me cards off of my buzzard. I might have messed up there. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll see what he wants to do. This thing's a bit of a nuisance, admittedly. Although I could kill command the Spellbreaker and then oh no, never mind. Okay, so he's got, oh my gosh, that's, you know what? So normally I would say that if your opponent plays a secret and he's a paladin, it's noble sacrifice, but this actually smacks of redemption to me. Well, I don't have any silence in this deck, so there's nothing I can do. So we're just gonna go ahead and deadly shot, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is deadly shot. See if it is redemption. It is redemption. Okay. Well, there's really not much I could have done about that. So what we're gonna do here is do that and get rid of that. Gonna swing for 16 damage. Excuse me, 18 damage. You know. Oh, I actually have the kill with kill command here. That's kind of cool. Okay, that was a pretty sweet game. So, yeah, I'd say the Sea Giant, Unleash the Hounds, Buzzard thing worked out really well there. I made a few mistakes. Well, I made one mistake. I threw away a Hound for no reason. Had I not done that, I actually would have had that Hound and I could have popped the Divine Shield. Much better, of course. I just got a golden multi-shot as a reward for leveling up. So let me talk about that card. I actually chose not to put multi-shot in this deck. Hunters have a variety of removal spells, as I have complained about while playing Arena, or rejoiced in when I'm playing Hunter myself. Basically, a Hunter could have an answer to just about any situation. Multi-shot being one of those answers where if your opponent has lots of minions, Unleash the Hound's great. If your opponent has 1 minion, Deadly Shot is great. And if your opponent has 2 minions, that's kind of the sweet spot for them, and multi-shot sort of takes care of that. But I didn't want to put it in because I feel you have to make choices in Constructed. You can't put in all the Hunter removal spells unless you're putting in onesies. And I think multi-shot was kind of the weakest link. It's been working out okay for me so far. Okay, I'm not going to keep Deadly Shot because a lot of the main shaman stuff, like Spirit Wolves, just doesn't really die to Deadly Shot very well. And of course the shaman makes totems, which also reduce the efficacy of Deadly Shot. Here we're up against Dwimmer the Shaman. Interesting name. We're going to probably lay out an explosive trap on turn 2. Probably. Not necessarily, though. It really depends on what my opponent's doing. Like, if he makes a turn 1 play, then I might hold off on the explosive shot, or explosive trap for later. He is going to make a play, and it's going to be to totem up. Well, usually I would say that if a shaman totems on turn 1, it's because he has a flame tongue. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. It's risky, but my thinking here is that if he does play Flame Tongue, then attacks with the Stoneclaw totem, the explosive trap will fire, it'll kill the totem, Flame Tongue will get burnt, it won't die, but it'll get burnt, and then the Eaglehorn Bow is playable next turn, I'll be able to kill the Flame Tongue off, so I'll get back my card advantage. And if this weren't a taunt totem, then maybe I'd be tempted not to do that. He's gonna Lightning Bolt the face! Okay, I don't know what that's about. He's gonna Rockbiter Weapon, oh geez, wow, whoa. Oh, geez, this is... Oh, wow, that was pretty poor play. So he just went down 2 cards, Lightning Bolt and Rockbiter Weapon, in exchange for my Explosive Trap. I'd say that is a really good trade for me, and I am resoundingly in the lead here. Plus, he's overloaded. So, yeah, that was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. My hand's actually not super good, but my opponent is not playing very well. So, yeah, it looks like all the legend players... I waited like a couple of days since the season start, and apparently... it would appear that, a couple of days is all it takes for the good players to get out of the running and for us to be scrubland over here. Okay, do I play double buzzard? If I do and he plays lightning storm, he'll kill both my buzzards and I will have only drawn one card. That's actually probably not worth it. Although just steady shotting also seems really bad here. Okay. Well, what I'm gonna do is, God, I don't want to play double buzzard into lightning storm. You know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm gonna do the double buzzard, and the reason for this is that if he does play lightning storm, it'll be his entire turn, and he'll be overloaded the turn after that. So I'm willing to take that chance, basically. The bear survives the lightning storm. He can't power it up with spell damage at only 4 mana. The 2 buzzards die. He doesn't have lightning storm. It seems he has earth shock for one, and does he have earth shock for the other? He has earth shock for the other. Look at that. Well, so I actually came out ahead there. One of my buzzards drew me a card, but he spent 2 cards killing them, so I'm again coming out ahead here, as he plays nothing but totems. Unfortunately, I cannot build my board presence here at all. Yeah, this isn't particularly great. Let's take this opportunity to lay a freezing trap. Do I want to kill this totem? I don't think I actually want to kill that totem. Let's just pass. Well, no, I have this trap. Yeah, we'll kill the totem. Trap might go off at some point and give my bow an extra durability. I have a little bit too many spells and not enough beef, but this does mean that my Sea Giants, Savannah Highmanes, and Violet Teachers and Sengens are all in the deck, so my deck has a somewhat high concentration of good cards. Hex for my bear. Okay, it's a 3-mana removal spell for a 3-mana minion, which is fine, I suppose. I need something playable right here, though. I really need something playable. And I got something playable, so that's fine. I'm not going to attack that totem. Not when I have a trap that might fire and increase the durability of the bow. In general, I do not play around oozes. I did get oozed in one game, but I don't think that card is worth playing around. It doesn't seem like in the current metagame there are that many oozes being run. Yeah, my deck is performing very badly in this particular game. It would seem that I'm lucky. Excuse me. That my opponent has been playing pretty badly. Alright, the Manatite Totem. We'll get him 1 card, it'll cycle, and it will eat up my bow. Savannah Highmane. Okay, well I was thinking of actually using removal spell on this totem, but I'm not going to pass on the chance to play Highmane. I am not going to wait on this trap to increase the durability of the bow just in the hopes of, killing something else, because every turn I wait is a turn he gets an extra card with the Manatide. Now what's cool here is that he's used up both Earth Shocks and a Hex. So he's probably got 1 more Hex in his deck, but without that Hex, he really cannot answer a Highmane easily at all. The bad news is that I've used up both of my buzzards. I kind of wish I had not made the play that I made. Flame Tongue Totem. Okay, so this totem's going to attack and it's going to get frozen upwards. So that's a little bit of card advantage for him because he can then replay that totem later for 3 mana, and he has a spell damage totem in his hand, which is kind of unfortunate. I could explosive shot this Flame Tongue, but that seems a little bit silly. Let's just take the slow road here. Let's kill that. Play Highmane number 2 and steady shot. Okay, so now we're rolling. We finally drew into our minions, and again, the Shaman only has 1 card I can think of that will really deal with it, which is Hex. He could also play a Tank Master, I suppose. That is a possibility, but there's always a chance that I'll get a Dinosaur then, and that'll be fine. Although if he did flip this into a 1/1 Squirrel, I'd be in pretty bad shape. So at this point, I might just try to race him out. I mean, this is 12 damage here, and this is +5 is, 17, 19. He's almost dead, honestly. If he doesn't flip a Taunt Totem here, that is probably what I'll do. He got a Taunt Totem. Well, I could use Explosive Shot to get rid of the totems. Because Explosive Shot does not target the opponent directly. Yeah, if I Explosive Shot, and swing for 12, and then Steady Shot, it's going to be at very low life. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. I just don't see a Shaman running enough life gain that he'd actually be able to come back from this kind of a situation. We'll just lay an explosive trap. It's basically 2 extra damage if he attacks my face. So now, Kill Command deals 5 damage and Steady Shot finishes him off. Both of those get past taunts. So really the only way he could conceivably win is if he were to get rid of all of my beasts, which is quite difficult because this is a beast, and each of these is a beast, and each of them spawns 2 beasts when it dies. He'd have to have like a way to hex one and kill the other one, and then also kill the other beast. That's a bit of a tall order. He could also be running a silence, I suppose, but then he'd still have to contend with the 6/5 body. It's pretty much over, I think. He's thinking, and I don't begrudge him that, but given that I'm holding a kill command, and plus also I have this, explosive trap here for 2 extra damage, for good measure, I should be in pretty good shape. Well, so yeah, preliminarily, I'd say this deck is pretty good. Although, all of our opponents so far have made some pretty questionable plays, like him sending a lightning bolt and a rockbiter weapon at my face. And then the rockbiter weapon was attached to the totem for good measure, so even that 3 damage didn't come through. Not that it matters, I'd only be at, 24 health if he had put the rockbiter weapon on his own face, which I think was technically the correct play in light of the possibility of the trap being freezing trap or explosive trap, or even misdirection. Okay, I guess technically I really can't begrudge him thinking, but considering that I have lethal on the board with these 2 minions, and even if they both were to just magically disappear, I still have Kill Command and Steady Shot to kill him. I don't know what he's thinking about so much. Maybe, you know what, maybe technically this is optimal play. You have the timer run out on your turn. That maximizes the probability that your opponent will have a disconnect and his internet will time out. I'm not going to give him well played because that was a pretty dick move, and I don't think we should play that way. That's a really good point. So a lot of people have been commenting about the fact that I tend to concede too early. But, if you really think about it, technically speaking, that is optimal play. If you know you're going to lose, the optimal play, like from a purely optimal standpoint, is to let your timer run out, because that maximizes by some infinitesimal amount the probability that your opponent will experience an internet failure. If you pass your turn or something, or you concede, then you're shaving off milliseconds that your opponent's internet might have disconnected if only you'd waited a little bit longer. But none of us would agree that that's a good thing to do. I mean, you always have to balance philosophy with practical concerns. And so I feel like that's why it's justified to concede a lot of the time. Okay, so we have a win streak. We did win, 3 games in a row. Let's keep on trucking. Warrior here. So Warrior is interesting. His hero ability basically counters mine, so we're at equal footing as far as hero abilities are concerned. In fact, that's probably in Hearthstone like the purest example of hero abilities canceling each other out. So I kept a freezing trap, which I now regret, of course. This is in case of an aggressive start. That's, I think, really this deck's biggest weakness is a super aggressive deck. Like, the bane of this deck's existence is Argent Squire. They're just so awful to deal with. I actually considered putting in a Blood Knight just to have an out against Argent Squires. And maybe it's worth it. I could take out the Snake Trap for a Blood Knight. Okay, well, I hope he armors up on turn 2. If he does, I could actually play aggressively. Now that I drew a second 3-drop, I could coin out one of these companions on turn 2 and play the other on turn 3. And then I'd have an uncharacteristically, I would say, aggressive opening. No, it is not to be. Well, so now I have to choose between Freezing Trap or just coining out the Animal Companion. So the Animal Companion, Leok would be good. It holds up technically, barring buffs against the Raptor, although a Shattered Sun Cleric changes that equation dramatically. Bear, Misha would hold up against the Raptor. The Pig would kind of suck. They would just sort of trade. That would be annoying. Or I could just play a Freezing Trap, have this pop into my opponent's hand, and then play Animal Companion later. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do a Freezing Trap here. So this Freezing Trap's interesting. I mean, it's not quite killing this minion. The minion is going to be replayable at 4 mana, but realistically, we'd have to be very deep into the game before it became profitable for my opponent to play a 3/2 for 4 mana. His other cards are likely better than that. So this is essentially like an Assassinate for 2 mana. That it comes with a delay, like in a long time, the minion might come back. But it's really not realistically going to come back for a while. Well, I got the Charging Pig, so that worked out perfectly. Given that I got the Charging Pig, it would have really sucked if I'd played the Animal Companion there. And he armored up on turn 3, which is perfect. So I took his minion off the board, and he just passed empty space. He actually has such an awful hand that he is going to replay the 3/2 For 4 mana, oh my god. Well, my opponent has a very slow start. I will play Ascension, and I'm going to play a little bit cheekily here. I will sneak the damage through. There are bad things that can happen here, like a cleave, for example, would kill off the pig and let the raptor trade. But I'm willing to take that chance. I feel like it's likely they're just going to end up trading. Okay. So my opponent just passes the buck here. Well, I've got a couple of options. I could just lay a snake trap, and then when my minions inevitably get attacked, I get 3 snakes, which is kind of a big deal. Unless there's a whirlwind, those 3 snakes are kind of significant. I could also just coin out into Savannah Highmane and call it a day. I could throw the pig and the Senjin into this. The Senjin actually does survive and then trades with the raptor, and then I have a Savannah Highmane. So how does a warrior deal with the Highmane? Actually, warriors don't do a great job dealing with that card. I actually want to get that into play as soon as possible. So I will do this, and we will run up against that Fen Creeper. If the Senjin would have died doing that, I wouldn't have made that decision, but since the Senjin survived, I think that was fair. I have all the traps in the universe. This could have been a Blood Knight, which wouldn't have been particularly impressive, so I guess I'm glad I have the Snake Trap in this particular case. He is going to go for the trade, which is fine. That means he didn't have anything better. And then the question is, does he have a way of dealing with the Highmane? And again, I don't think warriors, other than Tinkmaster Overspark, have a particularly good way of dealing with the Savannah Highmane. And that's why this is such a good creature. It's a 6 mana creature, and it'll eat your opponent's silences just like a legendary would. So he's got an Arcanite Reaper, which I'm actually fine with. So he does get to kill the Highmane, but I get 2 hyenas out of the deal. And then I can play Animal Companion and Snake Trap next turn, so that if he attacks any of my minions, I get 3 snakes. Well, my opponent is not a good player. He leaves the Savannah Highmane alive. I do think it was worth killing this thing, because if you just never kill it, then it's like a 6/5 that pounds you in the face all day. So I think my opponent messed up there. Okay, well, we'll play Animal Companion. Whatever companion I get, it will get Arcanite Repped, I think. Violet Teacher tragically also gets Arcanite Repped, but I could consider playing it in Snake Trap, so that if after it gets Arcanite Repped, I get a 3 snakes, and I also get the 1/1 student. Yeah, I think I just talked myself into that. Let's do that. Swing. I mean, I could have baited out the Arcanite Reaper with the Animal Companion, but there's no guarantee that he wouldn't have another weapon just on its heels. This way, I get 3 1/1s, which is not to be overestimated. Again, he could have a Whirlwind to kill off the student and the snakes, but I don't want to play around Whirlwind. I just don't feel like that's in use in a lot of decks right now. Okay, so he's dropping his own Taunter, just fine. I can kill it with my Highmane. Okay, he's got another Taunter. Well, that's annoying. Oh geez, this person's not playing very well, which is fine, I don't mind, but the move was definitely, you gotta take 3 damage and kill the Violet Teacher. Violet Teacher is a card you can't let your opponent keep around, especially because it kills the Grunt and it gives me, you know, cards. Yeah, my opponent definitely messed up there. Let's play Animal Companion. So the reason I'm playing the Companion is I want to see if I can flip a Leok. I got another Charging Pig. That's annoying, actually. Pig isn't quite good enough to kill the Senjin. It doesn't have enough power to kill the Senjin or enough hit points to kill the Grunt. So what I'm going to do, I think... Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll trade this Violet Student. And that... This Violet Teacher should be dead, but since it's not, it'll kill the Frostwolf Grunt. I will then hit him in the face for 6. And we'll play Senjin. That seems fine. So, okay. Ah, man. I just ran into Mind Control Tech, which I have a nasty feeling is the reason why he left this alive, was so that he could play Mind Control Tech against me. I should not have played this Senjin. Even if he doesn't have it, I shouldn't have played it. Like, his play bespeaked or besmacked of a Mind Control Tech. So I shouldn't have played the Senjin. I should have just laid an Explosive Trap and steady shotted. So, looks like he might not actually have it. Okay, now he wants to use the Arcanite Reaper on the Violet Teacher. Travbot, rank 25 here. He'll kill the Senjin with it. I get 3 snakes. It's pretty cool. Might not matter. Alright, what do you think, folks? First pick is Shaman. Azure Drake or Violet Teacher? Boy, that's tough. I like the teacher, but it's respectable either way. Wow, well, Corehound is not a good card, like, ever. So yeah, that was just a newbie, which is totally fine. That's why we put this series. My friend Dan's telling me it's not an answer to say either way is respectable. I think I should quote one of Papa Boris's proverbs at him. Good 4-drops win games. Okay, let's go ahead and play another game or two. Those are pretty quick games. That is an interesting question. First, pack 1, pick 1 is Shaman in the arena. Violet Teacher versus Azure Drake. I do think the Violet Teacher is the pick there. Because it's a 4-drop. I find that the 5 mana cost of the Drake is kind of prohibitive. Yeah, it's card advantage, and the spell damage is nice for Shamans, but Shamans have a lot of cheap spells. Earthshock, Lightning Bolt, Rockbiter Weapon, those are all getting picked if you see them in your run. And those students, I feel like they really add up. Well, I know that's a contestable choice, because spell damage is good for Shamans as well. Another Paladin, Shadow the Paladin here. Okay, well, tricky scenario here. I will go ahead and keep both of my 4-drops. This is a pretty slow deck, and as we saw in one of the games, sometimes just having things to play can be really difficult. So I don't mind keeping 4-drops in my opening hand, especially when I'm second player and can play them on turn 3 with the coin, because I might not have things to do otherwise. Alright, so now the parade of 1/1s begins. It's always tough against a Paladin with a control deck like this, because I don't have any early minions at all. So, Animal Companion's tempting here. Let's see, if I steady shot... I mean, I could, like, play an Explosive Trap and just kill this recruit. It doesn't really solve the problem, though, that if he makes another recruit, and I play one of my 5 toughness things, I'm in the same boat you always are against Paladins, which is that a True Silver Champion or Blessing of Kings will kill either one. Okay, I'm going to coin out this Animal Companion. I flipped a Leok. If it had been a pig, I would, of course, have killed the Silverhand Recruit. So now, on turn 3, I have nothing to do, unfortunately. But I do at least have the opportunity to mop up some of these recruits. It's got a Raid Leader. That's interesting. I don't know if I would have done that myself, because... I mean, I could just kill this with my Leok. Interesting choice by my opponent. So let's do that. And I'm going to lay a Freezing Trap. So the thinking here is a lot of the ways that this Leok could die, namely Blessing of Kings or some sort of a buff, would trigger the Freezing Trap. My opponent chooses to attack without doing anything else. So, I go down a card. I just lose the Freezing Trap. I didn't even kill a real minion with it. But he had the Wolf, so without the Freezing Trap, he could have actually killed my Leok there.
Reporting for duty.
Okay. Well. So these 4-drops are tempting, but what's even more tempting is to play this bow, because that allows me to kill the Wolf. And then with this 1/1 recruit's buff down, I can actually kill it and preserve my Leok. This is Leok, champion Leok here, killing a Raid Leader and a recruit, and something else, unless it dies to a Consecration. Now we're approaching turn 6. My opponent has really made no headway. He's got some card advantage, but other than that, he's really made no headway. And I'm about to play a Savannah Highmane. So I think I'm in pretty good shape here, honestly. Okay. Let's... do I play Animal Companions, which allows me to also lay a trap? No, I actually don't think that's worth doing. I think I'm just going to play... So Violet Teacher would let me play Animal Companion next turn and get 1/1s, but I don't want to play Animal Companion next turn. I want to play the Highmane next turn, almost no matter what. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, kill off that thing, and now do I kill this 1/1, which requires losing my Leok, or do I leave it the 1/1 alone, meaning that a True Silver Champion or Blessing of Kings would let him kill off my Senjin? I think actually this is the right move. That Leok killed 2 recruits and a Raid Leader. Definitely paid for itself. I kept my opponent's board clear, and now I can play the Highmane. Well, with pretty much, no worries. I mean, basically the best thing my opponent could do is actually play like a 6-mana minion of some sort. Like an Ogre, Cairn, Bloodhoof, something big and scary would be the best thing he could do. Alright, he does just Ascension and he makes a recruit. It's hard. Man, it's really hard being a hunter against a paladin. Because their hero ability is always putting stuff on the board, and you're so bad at dealing with that as a hunter. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and the reason why I'm doing that is if this gets buffed, I want it to die when it runs into my Sen'jin. Like, if it gets buffed by a Shattered Sun Cleric or a Dark Iron Dwarf, I want it to die. Now, Blessing of Kings, or that, and I don't really make any headway, but I think we're okay here. Well, I mean, it's scary for sure. Don't get me wrong. But I do have Unleash the Hounds for 4 minions right now. And also 4 cards. Now, let's not make any snap judgments. I could play the Buzzard and get 4 cards, or I could play Violet Teacher and get a Student. No. We're gonna go ahead and get 4 cards, I think. So there's that. Sea Giant. Oh, I think that's playable, isn't it? Pretty sure it's playable. Another Hounds. Okay, I wouldn't actually have room on the board. Wow. Oh, Sea Giant is free. Huh. That's cool. So, what I want to do here is to be very careful how you do this. If I play an Animal Companion, I won't have space on the board. Oh, but it's okay, because Animal Companion, yeah. So let's do this. Because if I flip a Leok, which I did, then my Hounds are better. So we're going to do this. It's actually still... Oh, is this still... Oh, no, I forgot! Oh, man, that was stupid, folks. I apologize. I just forgot that this would actually go up to 1 mana, up from 0. That was silly. Anyway, luckily, I can kill that, and I can kill that, and then the hyenas spawn, and then I get 2 more cards. I think I'm actually going to fill up my hand. Oh crap, my hand's full. I'm gonna end up pitching a card. I have 10 cards here. I actually ended up wasting a card. I shouldn't die to fatigue or anything, that's fine. But so he plays Consecration now, and everything dies except for Hero Leok. He has no Consecration. Well, that is certainly fortunate. Alright, my hand is full, that's too bad. Kill Command would have actually been good. Luckily I have another one. Wait. First we play Sea Giant. Then we play other Sea Giant. Okay, and then we play Kill Command to kill the Lord of the Arena. Don't let Paladins keep creatures. Now, I could still lose this game. Oh crap, I kind of overextended here. I mean, Equality Consecration, you have to remember that against Paladins. It will kill your whole team. Probably shouldn't have played 2 Sea Giants. I probably should have played like a Sea Giant and a Violet Teacher or something. Actually, I couldn't have done that because they were so cheap. That's why I played them both. Whatever. Anyway, we won, and that was pretty spectacular. Okay, got time for one more game. Yeah, let's do one more game. So we've won every game so far in this video. We'll leave, on a cliffhanger here. So if I win, I will actually make it to rank 20 thanks to the win streak. And then if I lose, then, well, I think we're at 21, so you can't lose stars yet for losing, but, we'll see how good I really am. That Paladin seemed to have a decent deck. I don't think it was a metagame deck or anything, though. Up against a Mage, Edward. So mages are interesting when you're a hunter, because they can control your board, but they at least don't add anything to the board. That's probably my least favorite thing, really, is the Paladins and Shamans who put things on the board, because I'm so bad at removing things from the board with my hero ability. Or until later in the game when I can, use my spells. But you don't really want to use your spells against the recruits or the totems. So I kept the Buzzard around. It's a bit of a risk, because if I draw the other Buzzard, that could kind of suck. And if I don't draw Unleash the Hounds, then the Buzzard's going to be dead in my hand for a while. But I think Buzzard's a good keeper. Obviously, I'm not going to play it against a Mage, because it just dies to the hero ability. So that's not good. And there's the other Buzzard. Well, that's annoying. So these 2 Buzzards are both pretty dead for a pretty long while. If she has a minion here, I will lay a Freezing Trap to kind of, again, delay, assassinate it. And as tempting as it is to wait until turn 4 to play the Violet Teacher so that afterwards you can use the coin and get a 1/1 Violet Apprentice off of it, I think generally it is better if you have nothing else to do to coin into a 4-drop like the Violet Teacher. Because putting the body out there earlier is better than maybe getting an extra 1/1 Violet Student out of it later. Good option now is better than the best option later. My opponent has a slow start, which is fine by me. I'm not saying this is the best control deck ever, but I think that in general, I fancy this deck's chances in a controller game, more so than against a deck that really comes out fast out of the gates. So I chose Freezing Trap rather than Explosive Trap, simply because if she does play a big minion, as she may, given that she's got a pretty slow start here, it's more likely that Freezing Trap will be effective rather than Explosive Trap, which could just do 2 damage uselessly.
We have many secrets.
Okay, so she's got a secret. I presume this seems to be a secret deck. Yep, there it is. Oh, that's bad. So now, this is annoying because if I play the Violet Teacher, there's a reasonably good chance that it's going to get copied. Violet Teacher is one of those minions you really don't want a mage having. So I will just go ahead and kill command this thing. Oh no, it's a Spellbender. Well, that deserves a well played. So it's essentially I didn't go down a card. Card-wise, I'm fine. I traded a card for her card. But given that it was a Spellbender, I would have rather, of course, played the Violet Teacher there. No question about that. This actually sucks, so now this thing goes back into her hand. So for 5 mana, she can replay it and get another secret for free. So the mana cost is actually completely subsidized by the free secret. That sucks. Well, I would say I'm at a disadvantage here, given how this game is going. Unless I can drop this Sea Giant and keep it down, I will be in a lot of trouble. Although, it could always turn around if she puts a bunch of minions down and I can do the Buzzard Hounds combo.
I can wait and
Nat Pagel. So this is a person with some good cards. I think this is one of the most awfully designed cards in the game. It just makes Hearthstone worse, in my opinion. And I do have Nat Pagel myself. Actually, he probably should go into this deck, truth be told. I could have Deadly Shotted to kill it, but I didn't see the worth in that. I'd rather she have basically half of a card, which is what the sort of the expected value of Nat Pagel is. I think half of a card is worth having a Violet Teacher on the board. So she spends her whole mana putting this down, presumably because she has another secret to play. Otherwise, there's really no reason why she would have done that. She seems to have a couple of secrets to choose from, and she chooses that one. And Nat Pagel hits again. Okay. Well, if this were anyone other than a mage, I could play the Buzzard and the Snake Trap and go for that combo, but that's not likely to work against a mage because the mage can just shoot the Buzzard. The mage is the only one who can get past that combo, unfortunately. Can't actually kill Nat Pagel here. This only does 3 damage. So, what I'm going to do... I could play this just to bait out another mirror entity, I suppose. Okay, what we'll do this. I'll do Deadly Shot to kill Nat Pagel to get a 1/1 student. And I will lay a Snake Trap. Even though it's not likely to fire anytime soon. This puts out 2 of these students, which makes Sea Giant a little bit easier to play, although by no means a sure thing. And if it actually does pop, then the snakes will make it much easier to play the Sea Giant. Okay, so she's got that thing. So it's a 5/5. And, okay, I can actually play Sea Giant here. And I think that's what I really need to... Oh, God, if that is Mirror Entity, though... It could still be a Mirror Entity, unfortunately. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll check for Vaporize and Ice Barrier. It's neither of those. The last secret was a Spellbender, so this could still be Mirror Entity, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Buzzard to check for Mirror Entity. It is Mirror Entity, so it's a good thing I did that. And I will actually now play another Buzzard. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing a card, and I'm making it so that it's more likely now that, and I guess actually Freezing Trap is probably pretty good here. I'm making, with 2 Buzzards on the field, I'm making it more likely that she will attack into one of them. Of course, she could play Arcane Explosion, Blizzard, or Flame Strike to just clear my board that way. I probably should have just played Sea Giant. Yeah, Cone of Cold kills my team. That's annoying. I should have just played I could have played Sea Giant, because Mirror Entity put 2 minions on the board. I could have then coined a Sea Giant out. That would have been smarter. Well, you live and you learn. So now my opponent attacks. The Snake Trap's just going to sit there. But the Arcanist will get shot back into her hand, and it'll cost a bunch of mana now. And now Sea Giant's not playable, because the board is all empty and sad. King Crush! Wow, I forgot I had that card. Okay, well, yeah, I guess we'll just lay that, because why not? I've got the mana. Problem is, she has so many cards because of just, you know, me having secrets and her having favorable trades and all that stuff, that actually I don't even think King Crush will bring me back into this game. I messed up big time. I could have put a siege giant onto the board. That would have been smart. This is, I think, the one I froze into her hand earlier. This deck is just a good matchup against me because she has, you know, these guys that have a really good battle cry, and it basically counters the mana cost of the freezing trap. Crap. But I really should have put Siege Giant into play after the Mirror Entity gave me that opportunity. So now watch this be like Vaporize and it kills King Crush. Annoying. Alright. Yeah, let's do this. It's a pretty epic introduction here. Out of respect for Vaporize, I'm not going to attack her face. I'll just play that as a value card. See if it can, you know, eat up 2 of her cards before dying. She is going to deal with it, it seems. Hopefully with a Fireball or a Polymorph. If it's a Frostbolt, that would suck. Oh my god, really? And of course it's Frostbolt. So interestingly, Frostbolt doesn't kill this, but because it's frozen, I cannot kill Archmage. And I'm in a lot of trouble now. I'm in a lot of trouble. I cannot get rid of that thing. Well, let's drop Sea Giant. So she has a Fireball factory now. She can play Fireball twice and still have Fireballs left over. Oh my god, this game sucked. Ah, man. That was a mistake. I mean, you gotta have those growing pains with a new deck. I could have put Sea Giant onto the field, and I didn't. And then I paid for my insolence. So there's a Fireball here. She gets another Fireball. And that Fireball will kill off my Sea Giant. Explosive Shot doesn't quite hit hard enough to kill the Archmage. I think it would not be unreasonable to concede here, given all of our talk of whether concessions are justified and whatnot. What a Snake Trap, an Explosive Trap? Okay, God. Alright. Well, let's do this. And this. I have really zero confidence that any of this will work. She has so many cards. Not really going to hit Fatigue anytime soon. She's a Frostbolt for my high main, giving herself another Fireball. I mean, pretty soon she can just start fireballing my face. It's an endless Fireball factory here. Yep, there she goes. I mean, I think she has enough Fireballs now that she can just kill me with them. Eaglehorn Bow, that's great. What a bitch. Flip the Leok, not the greatest here. What a fucking bitch, shut up. I hate people sometimes. So, sure. Oh, I don't have enough mana. Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll steady shot.
Thank you.
Man, I hope this person dies sad, alone, and in a lot of pain. So she's got at least 2 Fireballs. She can just fling them at my face and probably win, because I'll be at 3 health, down to 2 health with this, and then she's used both of her Frost Bolts, but as long as she has any sort of direct damage, she'll just be able to finish me off. Mirror Image. That's the way to do it, I suppose. So she didn't ping me, but she's in pretty good shape. Oh, Deadly Shot. That would have been a pretty good answer to the Archmage. Can I technically win? It's technically possible. It is technically possible that I win, but not with a Vaporize. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Eaglehorn Bow triggers off of your opponent's secrets as well as your own, which I think is a heaping load of grade A bullshit, but here we're on the positive side of that. Not that it matters, because my damage output is not nearly high enough to compensate for her cards. Secret Keeper. This is definitely a secret deck. I can't believe I lost to a secret deck. That's a little bit sad. Alright, does she have more damage? I could go out in style. She has another Fireball. So she played a secret keeper, a secret, and pinged me when a fireball would have killed her. Yep. Remember this, Edward. Edward is a grade A asshole, and I say that without any hesitation. So sad that I lost to a complete and utter douchebag when I could have potentially won. It was a misplay there. So always look for ways to improve your play. Don't blame luck. There I could have, after the mirror entity spawned off of my starving buzzard, played a sea giant with the coin, and then it all might have been different. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that run, even though it had a pretty sad ending. As always, let me know in your comments, if you have any recommendations for the deck. I'm basically gonna play it until I hit a brick wall with it, and then once I hit a brick wall, we'll change something new. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.